What if the night sky doubled its magic? Imagine looking up and seeing not one, but two glowing moons. This isn't just a pretty picture, it's a cosmic disruption. How would Earth truly change if it had a celestial twin? Let's dive into what would happen if our pale friend in the sky was not alone. Imagine waking up one morning to an unfamiliar sight. You step outside and see the usual moon hanging in the sky, but beside it, another moon, bigger, brighter, stranger. What would you think? What would the world think? It might seem like a dream, but this is reality for some animals on Earth. There are animals that can see in ultraviolet, and they probably live in a world of many more colors than we can even imagine. They likely see the ultraviolet radiation given off by the sun and reflected by our moon. But they may also see the UV glow from another moon, which to our eyes would be invisible. A second moon would transform our night sky, making it almost twice as bright. It'd look breathtaking, but it would also make stargazing almost impossible with the naked eye. And then there's the strange phenomenon you'd witness when the two moons lined up perfectly. It would appear as though the sky had split in two. This celestial real estate would undoubtedly become one of the most photographed phenomena in history. But let's go beyond the beautiful Instagram posts. How would such a big change affect life on Earth? First off, let's talk about tides. Imagine living in a coastal city. You're used to the rhythm of the tides, how the ocean gives way to reveal the sand and shells to be picked up at low tide and how it returns with an angry roar at high tide. But now the rhythm has changed. It's more extreme, wilder, and it's all because of your extra moon. More moons mean more gravitational pulls. Gravity's tugging action causes the rise and fall of tides. With one moon, we're pretty much used to it. But with two moons, there'd be double the tugs. Now, one moon might not make a huge difference, but the combined force of two could lead to some serious flooding, especially during new moons when their gravity aligns, pulling the oceans towards them. Cities built along the coast could be underwater, forcing people to abandon their homes and maybe even rewrite history. Think about Venice. It's been shaped by the tides for centuries, but with these changes, it may have to reinvent itself. What about darkness? We often take it for granted. We flip a switch and light floods in. But before electricity, people relied on darkness, on the moon to guide them through the night. One moon was enough. It illuminated the darkness, allowing travelers to navigate the roads, farmers to tend to their fields, and lovers to steal a kiss. But two moons would change this. Nights would never be truly dark again. There'd always be some moonlight to cast long shadows and reveal hidden paths. It might seem nice, but for nocturnal animals, it's a nightmare. Owls, bats and nocturnal insects, whose lives revolve around the absence of light, would find their world turned upside down. Their ability to hunt, to avoid being hunted, all of it disrupted by the double glow in the sky. They'd have to adapt quickly, evolving to survive in this new dawn, or they'd risk becoming extinct. You've heard Billie Eilish's song about it, but what does it really mean? A lunar eclipse occurs when a moon passes between the Earth and the Sun, casting its shadow on the sunlit part of the Earth. With one moon, this happens a few times a year, casting its dark shadow somewhere on our planet. But with two moons, things get complicated. Not only would lunar eclipses happen more frequently, but they'd also be much more dramatic. Imagine the round shadows, each slightly different, chasing each other across the Earth, sometimes overlapping, sometimes missing. The Earth itself might feel like it's been split in two, each half experiencing alternating periods of darkness and daylight during these eclipses. Such events would become not just astronomical wonders, but harbingers of change, casting their ominous shadows over our daily lives. With the second moon, our planet's rotation would no longer sync with a single cycle of rising and setting. Our current 24-hour day would cease to exist, replaced by a new cycle dictated by two moons. Days would be longer, perhaps lasting between 26 and 28 hours. The old timetables, clocks and calendars would become obsolete. Entirely new ones would have to be designed. The very concept of time would change as humanity struggles to adjust to this cosmic shift. The moonlight would guide us twice in a night. Imagine looking out the window on a clear night. The sky is filled with stars, but dominating the scene are two moons, each a beacon in the darkness. One is full and bright, the other a thin crescent. Suddenly, a third light appears, a bright, twinkling light, making its way towards the horizon. It seems to be beckoning, calling to something unseen. That's Venus, the brightest speck in our night sky. We often see Venus as a morning star, but to those who followed both moons, they'd know it's making its way to become the evening star. Two moons would mean double the opportunities for romance. Lovers might choose their favorite moon to meet under, carving special meanings into their rituals. Poets would write sonnets to both, and songs would be sung under their combined glow. Imagine the thrill of proposing under such a unique sky, the hope and promise symbolized by two lights instead of one. For every proposal, there'd be double the witnesses in the sky, double the silent observers of love's vows. Under this double moon sky, humans might find themselves in a double bind. Scientists believe that having two moons could increase the frequency and severity of earthquakes. Our planet's crust is in constant motion. Earthquakes occur when tectonic plates shift suddenly. Now, while we usually attribute this movement to the moon's gravitational pull, it's actually quite subtle. The moon's gravity affects the movement of water in our oceans, which in turn exerts a drag on the Earth's crust. But this force is fairly weak. However, with two moons, we'd have double the gravitational forces acting on our planet. This could destabilize the delicate balance of forces that keep tectonic plates in check. As a result, we might face more earthquakes, possibly more intense than before. Living on Earth would become a bit more unpredictable. So that second moon, while beautiful to look at, could be a harbinger of danger. It might come as a surprise, but the second moon wouldn't just hang in the sky. It would reside deep within our planet. It would be a part of our Earth, yet invisible to us. This inner moon would exert a force on the outer one, affecting its orbit and eventually causing it to crash into Earth. But don't worry, this wouldn't be the end. In fact, it'd be a beginning. After hitting the surface, the moon would bounce back into space and begin orbiting Earth again. This process would repeat over and over, the moon crashing into the Earth every 50 to 60 million years and then returning to orbit. The impact of these crashes would be felt long after the moon disappeared from the sky. It would leave behind craters that would become new lakes and reshape the land, reminding us of its presence with every wave and rock formation. Our sky would never look the same again. It would constantly shift and change as the gravitational dance between the two moons played out. Days would become longer, nights shorter. The seasons would change, no longer bound to the familiar cycles we know. The climate would shift, testing our survival skills. And here's where things get really interesting. Would humanity fear this change? Would the double moons be seen as a bad omen, a sign of instability, chaos, and destruction? Or would we celebrate it, seeing it as a chance to start anew, to adapt and evolve alongside our changing planet? Maybe the answer lies in our ancient past. Myths and legends often reflect our relationship with the cosmos. For instance, in many Native American cultures, the moon is seen as a powerful female deity. If you were to ask a Hopi elder about a second moon, they might speak of Sky Woman, the first woman to walk the earth. According to their creation story, she fell to earth from the sky world and gave birth to the first humans. The arrival of a second moon could be seen as her return, bringing with her new teachings and challenges. Or perhaps the ancient Greeks would offer their perspective. In their mythology, the moon was associated with the goddess Selene, who drove her moon chariot across the sky each night. With two moons, we could say that Selene found a companion, another chariot illuminating the night. This could signify a period of harmony and balance, a reminder of the Greek belief in order and reason in the universe. Farmers rely on the consistent phases of the moon to plan their work. For generations, they've observed the lunar cycle, planting and harvesting according to its rhythm. But what would this age-old practice become with two moons? Would farmers have to learn new rhythms, perhaps guided by the brighter phases of one moon and the dimmer glows of the other? Or would they stick to the moon they've always known, ignoring the newer addition to the sky? This change would test the adaptability of humanity, our ability to learn and change with the cosmos. What would become of our agricultural practices? How would they evolve under the glow of two moons? As our story progresses, the effects of the second moon ripple through time, reshaping our world in ways we're only beginning to imagine. From the subtle shifts in the tides to the dramatic changes in the length of days and even the potential for more earthquakes, the implications are vast. Our world becomes a canvas painted with the dual hues of challenge and opportunity. Now, if you've made it this far, chances are you're intrigued by this cosmic twist. So here's a question for you. What do you think? Would you welcome the change of a second moon, or would you try to hold on to the familiar rhythm of the one we've known for so long? Share your thoughts. Let's discuss. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Your support means everything to us. And remember, the universe never ceases to amaze. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll look up and see not one, not two, but a whole constellation of possibilities.